Okay, yep, it's recorded. Okay, so I'm gonna admit everyone, yeah?
Yeah, awesome. Let's go.
Hello, welcome everyone. How are you guys doing today? Apa khabar semua? Thank you for joining us today. So, siapa yang ada inside this, can you guys say hello to me? Can you guys say hi? If kalau malu nak cakap. Hi Jason and Logan. Hi, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. We always welcome you.
Thank you.
Yep. So, where were you from?
Sorry?
Where were you from?
You mean where do I work or?
Yeah, both. If possible to share with us.
Oh, I guess I'm from Malaysia. I'm from Cranbridge International School.
I see. That's great. Thank you for joining us today. So basically, we're gonna wait for the rest of us to join for this session. Okay, so maybe we're gonna start in maybe 5 minutes. Is it okay for everyone? Are we good? If okay, then can you guys give me a thumbs up? Okay, Chairul, thank you so much. Namira, NGL, thank you so much. Right, so we're gonna start in 5 minutes. So we're still waiting for others to join in. So mungkin they having some issues to join, but it's fine. We give them a time. Once 5 minutes, I think we cannot wait anymore. So we just run the sessions lah. Okay. So Cik Hairul, where are you from? Cik Hairul, boleh share ke? Where you guys from? Siapa lagi? Puan Ruhaida Hanifa.
Pagi.
Pagi Cik Hairul. How are you? Sihat
Yeah, Alhamdulillah.
Cik Hairul dari company mana Cik Hairul?
I'm from Dagangan.
Oh, dagangan. I see.
Bukan dagangan. Bukan dagangan, Dagangan.
Oh, dagangan. Okay. Macam mana Cik Hairul tahu pasal this webinar?
Actually, I just Google je sebenarnya.
I see. Oh, okay.
Tapi sebenarnya because okay, just intro about myself lah. I'm Hairul. I'm from Dagangan, Berhad. And I'm also kita juga ada satu lagi subsidiary we call Autorion Intelligence and Berhad. We are more focusing on AI lah.
I see. Oh, okay. That is good.
So kalau sesiapa ada kat sini berminat buat AI nanti boleh contact saya.
Boleh sangat. Nanti Encik Arul share your contact inside kita punya chat tu, kan? Chatbot tu, dekat kita punya chat box tu. Nanti whoever that interested, then I will also take note. So whoever that interested on AI, then mungkin kita work together lah in future.
Boleh insyaAllah, kan?
Encik Arul trainer ke ataupun macam mana?
Saya bukan trainer, saya actually as director untuk this company lah. I'm also so but we have our internal our trainer yang memang dah HRDF punya apa nama tu?
HRDF punya certified lah.
Betul.
Okay, that's good. Boleh sangat. I believe that kita boleh work together because nowadays memang AI memang like really siapa yang tak tahu pasal AI ni dia ibarat macam zaman kuno lah kan.
Just lah macam handphone lah.
Ya,
banyak model kan. Even AI pun dia banyak juga dia punya upgrades kan. So we need to keep ourselves dengan new technologies. Yeah.
Betul, exactly. Hari ni kita contohnya bulan March ni kita learn a new AI. April came out a new one dah.
Betul.
So that is how fast AI can be kan. So I thank you so much Encik Hairul for joining us today. Definitely kita I hope that we can work together lah. Nanti mungkin Encik Hairul boleh put your contact details ataupun you punya staff punya details. So maybe whoever that interested on AI, then maybe can connect each other lah in future insyaAllah.
We will do that. Yeah.
Alright, thank you Encik Hairul. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
How about the rest? Yang lain macam mana? Daripada mana? Can you guys share with me where you guys from? ada ke yang willing to share? Maybe you guys can switch on you punya mic, then after that, yeah, maybe we can have a little chat. Tak ada yang sudi nak borak dengan I lah. How about ni, Puan Rohaida, Hanifah, where you guys, where you from, Puan Rohaida? Puan Rohaida, Puan Rohaida.
Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Alright.
No worries, Puan.
Assalamualaikum dan selamat pagi. Saya dari JB and I'm actually from manufacturing industries. So I got to know this training from the invitations through email. Then I think this is something new that I as a so-called manager need to learn more lah on this. Right.
Exactly. Thank you so much for Raida. Wow, Johor tu kampung saya tu. So I hope that this raya ni pun I akan balik Johor. So I hope to catch up lah kalau ada masa kan. So basically for you guys information, for this neuro optimization session for leaders, for your information, for webinar, usually kita akan buat for executive and middle management. But for now, this program is the first program that we organize under ATCEN for leaders, which is for the higher management lah. So thank you so much for joining us today. So I hope that you guys gonna learn and I also gonna learn from the trainer. So I believe that sekarang ni we wait for another 2 minutes, then I will pass the floor to our expert lah. Okay ke semua? Kalau okay, then we just wait another 2 minutes, yeah. Okay, kalau okay, thumbs up. Baru betul. Right. Nice. Thank you so much. So we're gonna wait another 2 minutes, then I will pass the floor to Dr. Amin. Alright. Welcome back everyone. Okay, I yang welcome back sebenarnya. Okay, alright. So without further ado, I would like to thank you everyone for joining us today. So my name is Hadi. I will be a moderator, which is I will be one of the speaker lah for this session. But I'm not the trainer. Okay, so basically ATCEN ni is, as you guys know, we more than 2 decades in Malaysia, and we are not only in Malaysia, we do have a lot of international client as well, right? So basically we are focusing more on we are a training provider, so we are focusing more on leadership, we are focusing on management, we are focusing on contact center and customer experience training. So what we do is basically we do a public program, we do an in-house program as well. So as you guys know, this program, high performance neuro optimization session for leaders. So this is from one of our master trainer, Major Dr. Amit J. Logan. So he will be representing our program and also be a trainer for this 2 hours program. So I hope that you guys can stay until our end of the session, because by the end of the session we have a huge exclusive promo for whoever wanted to do a public program and also wanted to do an in-house program for your staff. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Amit. Yep, Dr. Amit, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Hadi. Thank you so much.
Welcome, welcome.
And thank you everyone who's here for investing your time and your attention, okay, and focusing on something that is very, very important to all of us, especially in this leadership scale of things, right? Your human brain. So this is the most, I would say, the machinery that actually makes you who you are. And it's such an honor and privilege to be speaking with all of you leaders on this Monday morning, taking time off of your busy schedules. So yes, an honor also to be here, to be speaking under ATCEN and also NTW, National Training Week. So I hope you guys will enjoy this session. If you do have any questions, you can just pop them in the chat box, and yeah, I'll try to get to them. Or if you could wait to the end of the session, that'll be even better. We'll have a bit more time for interaction. Is that good? Yeah, I would like to see a lot of thumbs up and reactions. Fantastic. That's great. That's great. Okay. So before we begin, I'd just like to give you a little bit of an intro about myself. It's very important for you to know who is speaking to you, so that you would be more open and you would be more receptive of the material that you will be receiving today. So I am Dr. Amit J. Logan. I'm a retired military medical officer. So I served in the Special Forces and also the Royal Malaysian Air Force. Prior to that, I did my medical school in Ukraine, now called Russia. And it has been a very exciting journey for myself. Ever since I was a little boy, I was about 5 years old, as far as I can remember. I enjoyed two things. Number one was to heal people. So I used to spend my kampong times plucking leaves, plucking herbs, mashing them up together and treating my elders. And miraculously, they used to feel better. So I enjoyed healing from a very, very young age. And another thing that I really enjoyed was the uniform. I really admired the uniform. Could be police, could be military, but someone in a uniform was someone I really looked up to. So I worked my way, found my way, and I became a doctor, and I joined the military as well. So throughout this whole journey, I was very, very intrigued and very, very fascinated about the human mind, the brain. So during medical school, we learned a lot about the brain, but sadly, we did not learn much about the mind and the workings of it. Yes, we had some subjects in psychology and all, but it was just not enough. So when I was in my commando days, I was there for about 7-8 years. I really had the opportunity to work closely with some of the most elite men in Malaysia and reputable around the world, in fact, for high risk missions and operations. So I worked very closely with them, and later on I transitioned into the Air Force, where I also worked and trained with fighter pilots, in fact. Along my course, I got a few opportunities to do a few missions around the world. And I work with very diverse groups of people. So not only the medical folk, not only the special elite forces, not only with adults, but I worked also with children, with the underprivileged. So it really gave me a very broad perspective about the human mind, and I was very much involved in training. So my flexibility in training different groups, I think, grew from there. So don't worry, I won't be speaking a lot in medical jargon here. So I'll just give you the right information that you need to know as leaders, because your brain can only process so much of information, and we don't want to overload you over this course of this 2 hours. All right. So before we start, right? So here's our outline. We'll be covering these 4 aspects. And before we start, I would like to have a little quick mental experiment with you guys. Okay, so we're going to count up from 1, 2, and instead of saying 3, you're going to say alpha. And you can say it in your mind, it's fine. All right. And then you're going to go up, up, up. So we're going to go count to 30 using this method. Okay, so everyone ready? Thumbs up. Fantastic. Okay, so now I want you to start. 1. Now I want you to think about all the emails that you have pending, all of the things that you have to do today, later on, when you book a puasa, where you have to go, all the people that you have to meet, all the things that are happening in your family right now. Okay? All right, stop. So do you notice something there? Initially, when you first started off, 1, 2, alpha, 4, 5, alpha, easy. But once you start getting more information and more things you need to think about, did you notice that your cognitive thinking slows down slowly, slower and slower and slower? So this is because the brain can only process certain amount of information at one particular time. To be exact, it's about 50 bits of information, right? So this is something that it shows clearly that our mind, we are not multitaskers naturally. So we are set out to be focused on one particular task, and we should get that right. But when it comes to external noises coming in, it kind of slows down our cognitive processes. So I will explain further in the next few slides, okay, on why this happens, okay? So before we get into the juicy parts, I want to introduce you to a few concepts here. Number 1 is the biopsychosocial model. So this model here talks about health and well-being. So in order to have optimum health and well-being, you have to have all of these factors, biological factors, social factors, and psychological factors working in harmony or in balance. So only then we can achieve optimal health, right? And at the epicenter of this Venn diagram, you notice that mental health is there. So at the intersections between biological, psychological, and social, there are stresses. Okay, biological here means your body itself, your physical body, right? Your genetic makeup, and who you really are right now, physically. Psychologically are things that affect your mental state. Okay, it could be thoughts, it could be emotions, it could be behaviors. So this is all psychological. And the social factors are the people that basically you surround yourself with. It could be your family, your workmates, anything at all that involves a social circle. So if there is a disbalance between any of these circles, right? So you can find some kind of stress that comes about. And when there is presence of stress, it will weaken your system. So it could be your brain, right? It could be your physical body, or even it could be your mental health. So it's very, very important to be able to identify who you really are in this present time. Okay. How are you biologically? How are you psychologically? And what are you experiencing socially? So then we'll move on to the next concept, which is the stress model, right? So there's different types of stress. We hear about stress, or we have experienced stress, um, probably even every day, right? So there's different types of stresses, and stresses are not entirely bad. However, sometimes if this stress goes out of control, it can be something quite detrimental. So stress that is good is called eustress. You can familiarize with this term. So eustress is very important for us to keep moving forward. Okay, progression, meeting deadlines. Distress is something that is negative, and it appears in the state of acute stress, okay, or episodic stress. That means it happens every now and then, now and then, now and then. And if this is left unchecked, it then transitions into chronic stress. So something that is toxic, and it can be very, very debilitating for your mental health and also your physical health. So it's very important to know about stresses. I've been for many trainings regarding stress, and oftentimes, we get very technical about stress, and everyone gets stressed out. So I'll try to make this as fun as possible for you, something different, something new, and something of your level as leaders. Right. So if we go back in time, um, we look at animals, right? So animals, they also have their own forms of stress. It could be mainly survival, right? Other tribes, weather, and then later on, as man progressed, we were very much more uh, uh, threatened by paranormal activities. Of course, now in the age of information technology and AI, we don't really see much of that coming about. These paranormal activities, hysteria, and all that these cases have reduced significantly because of readily available information, and how our human mind has matured in a way that it knows that this has become something quite entertaining and comical for most people. And so they've shifted that from their belief of their worries from these kind of scenarios, these kind of events that could probably threaten survival, into things that happen today in modern day life. Family, finance issues, social, your own thoughts can be self-sabotaging, phone scrolling, peer pressure. So all of these have now become the new forms of stress. And we talk about stress, what happens is it really activates this part of your nervous system that is called the sympathetic nervous system, and it causes you to be in the state of alarm, fight, flight, or freeze. So fight means basically, you're ready to clench your fist and to go at someone. Flight means you're ready to just take off and to run away, not to get on the airplane. And freeze is sometimes, you just mentally just stand there with a blank stare. So this is the fight, flight, or freeze response. This is what happens when your sympathetic nervous system gets activated, right? So let me just clear something out right here. I was in a training a few months back, and when I said nervous system, a lot of people were confused. What is nervous system? So nervous system does not mean you are nervous, you are feeling scared or what. No, it basically means nerve, right? So the plural for nerve is nervous. So there's two, right? So there's two main systems that govern your nerves, right? Your brain, which is the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system, right? So the sympathetic nervous system, basically, when it's activated, your brain is like on fire. So there's some immediate responses that happen, and there are some delayed responses that happen. Immediate responses, what happens is your heart rate goes up, your breath rate goes up, brain fog happens. So your body is basically just ready to just take off, to run or to fight, and not to think about much things at all. So probably when you're in a state of stress, when you're fight or flight or freeze, if you're going to be doing numbers in your head, most likely that's not going to turn out too good. And long-term effects, you can see, when your serum cortisol level goes up, it has lasting effects on your physical body and also your brain. Heart conditions, kidney, stroke, all sorts of things. Dementia also is very, very possible if your sympathetic nervous system is always on high alert. So, did you know that, like I mentioned earlier, stresses can be reversed, right? So from distress, you can bring it back to eustress. You can. So when someone is in distress for a long time, their biological age also accelerates. So they tend to age faster. They tend to have more problems, more health problems faster. However, if stress is easily identified and managed with better, we can sort of slow down aging, right? So this is an important point and an interesting fact. So I am also a practicing doctor. I practice functional medicine, and in functional medicine, we focus on two main things, which is vitality and also longevity, how to make you feel better and how to make you live longer, right? So this is very relevant in my field, and I see patients also every day along these lines. So I would like you to know now some signs of an unoptimized system. So you look at the illustration on your right. So you see that he's all over the place, feels sluggish. He's just, oh my God, how do I get through this day, right? So this doesn't only happen to lower, to your mid-level. It can happen in a lot of, in various hierarchies also it happens. So everyone has their own form of stresses. They have their own types of problems. And a stress is a stress. So we cannot say that, oh, it's because, what you are having is nothing compared to mine. In his mind, in his reality, that is something very real, and it's something that needs to be attended to. So we talk about motor signs showing up, autonomic nervous system signs showing up, and also cognitive signs that show up. So oftentimes these signs are very silent. So before your brain can shout, I'm stressed, or, oh my God, there's just too much of work, your body shows you cues, right? So it may look something like this. So in motor signs, you can see hands are curling like this, okay? Or your feet, your toes are also curled up inwards, right? Even when you're standing or in your shoes, just like that. Frequently rubbing your eyes, touching your face, touching your nose. So these are all some subtle signs that actually show up way before anything physiological happens. Some autonomic signs. Autonomic signs basically means automatic signs that happens, directly from your brain, sending you signals. Mouth breathing, breathing through your mouth. Profusely sweating all the time. Lips dry. Skin feeling very dry. Easily get scratched. Bumping of or like injuring your fingers and your hands, your legs, bumping into things. So all of these are also signs, subtle signs. Cognitively, you can see that when you're picking up from a menu or you're making decisions, it tends to be slower. Or forgetting where you put things, like putting your glasses on your head and looking all over the house. Where did I put my glasses? Where did I put my keys? Where did I put, looking everywhere, scolding everyone around you, and just to find out that it's right on top of your head. Okay, frequently getting spacing out, or just forgetting what to say. So these are also some cognitive signs that show up early, right? So I'm going to tell you a little story right now on how these stresses actually come about, right? So let's think of stress like an internal covert ops. So you have a few group of people, and they infiltrate an organization silently. They work there, they do their jobs quietly, and everyone seems to be okay with them because they're blending in so well. And as the days go by, as the weeks go by, months go by, everything is fine, everything is good. But occasionally we do see some files going missing or some numbers going off. And it happens probably as a very undetectable, unnoticeable. But over time, you notice a certain pattern, and things become a bit more, your organization gets impacted more, right? It could be financially, it could be the way you operate. And you notice that, there are more people who are befriending or becoming associated with this initial group of people. So their presence becomes stronger and stronger, and they start moving their agenda forward. And over years, you can see that very important systems are now being hacked, are collapsing, and in time to come, the whole organization is crippled from inside out. So basically, it's robbed from inside out. So that is basically how stress infiltrates. It's present, yes, everybody has stress, right? But it's very important for us to be able to identify these stresses early. So they show signs. So it's very important for us to be vigilant whenever they show up, right? So how we want to do that is to have probably, tighter SOPs. Your audits are done in place, perhaps by an external party. That would definitely be better rather than doing it internally. So the same thing when it comes to stress, right? So we need to be able to move. So what happens is, in your body right now, okay, you have DNA, which makes who you are, and you have the environment that shapes who you are. So these stresses can come from either internal or external. So both of these stresses are really real, and it can translate into physical problems, health problems, or even cognitive problems if it is left untreated. Mix it with a little bit of emotion, behavior, feelings, and belief. Oh my God, that becomes a lethal cocktail, right? So some of the symptoms that could possibly happen related to stress is IBS, wanting to go to the toilet often, or after eating a certain food, a certain type of food, they run to the toilet before a meeting, um, gastritis, or even heartburn, uh, GERD also, yeah. So all of these things are also early signs of uh, stress lingering about. Ulcerative colitis, or even Crohn's disease, uh, psoriasis, that means rashes on the skin, feeling very itchy, eczema, hyperventilation, which means you're breathing very fast, very rapid, very shallow. So what happens when you breathe very fast and shallow? Your body does not get the right amount of oxygen, and there is basically a flush out of carbon dioxide, which kind of stops your brain for a while, thinking that, okay, I have enough oxygen, but I don't have enough. I have enough carbon dioxide, so I'm going to stop breathing altogether. So it gets itself into a vicious cycle. Okay, frequently getting asthma attacks. Yes, asthma is caused by allergies. However, the hyperactivity, okay, is also induced by the stress. So we need to be clear about that. Um, Heart becoming, your heart races, or you're having palpitations. So this could also be an early sign. BP showing on the high side, frequent headaches, lower back pain, very interesting. So let me just share a story about lower back pain. Uh, Quite a number of lower back pains are not due to physical reasons, unless it's a fall or a trauma. But usually, if there is no specified injury to the back, um, it could be a sign to show you that you need to slow down. You need to take some rest, right? So it's very interesting to see how your mind works. So you have a background, it runs in the background, and it actually tries to bring you or to slow you down by manifesting itself in some kind of a physical uh, illness, right? Erectile dysfunction or sexual dysfunction, PCOS, endometriosis, teeth grinding, insomnia, high blood sugar levels. So all of these also are also attributed to stress. Any questions here? So usually I get a lot physically during my physical sessions. I get a lot of questions here. Would anyone like to ask a few questions here? Nope. Okay, all good. Let's move forward. Right. So oftentimes when we go to visit the doctor with any of those symptoms, the doctor gives you some medication, a treatment. You take it, you feel good for a while, and just to see that it comes back again, right? So I like to give this roof leak analogy. I think all of us here have experienced some form of a leak in our roof some point of our lives. And when you have a leak in the roof, and the water starts falling down, you call your contractor and you tell him you have a leaky roof. And what does he do? He says, not to worry, right? I got you. So he comes, he shows up, and he plasters the ceiling. And it happens again. So you see in a few weeks, a few months, you notice that there is a leak, but not in the same place, but somewhere else. And then he comes back and he patches it up. and the leak appears somewhere else. So this happens because we are patching the places that need to be patched, yes. But what is actually the source of it, right? So we really want to see and we want to go deeper and find the source of the leak. So in this case, maybe the leak was actually due to a roof tile that moved, or it could be your upstairs neighbor that uh, has a plumbing issue that is leaking down into your unit. So it's important to not just cover up the symptoms, but it's very important for you to be able to find the source and fix it. Okay, so getting a little bit more juicier, we have the brain right here, and this part over here is called the prefrontal cortex right here. So this is what actually truly gives us meaning of becoming human, right? So this is the super center that actually uh, orchestrates or gives instructions to all of the other parts of the brain. It has the ability to influence all other parts of your brain, including your limbic system and your brainstem. So the limbic system or amygdala, which I think now you see a lot in neuroscience videos, they always talk about the amygdala. So the amygdala is like a nut-shaped structure that's located in your brain. You've got two of them, and it acts to it translates your fears into actions, basically. And it's like a very prima donna-ish or very drama queen of the brain. So it gets easily excited or triggered, and it easily, makes you do things that you know that I probably should not have been dancing like that when I saw that cockroach or that chicha, or like acting out of proportion in certain functions, right? So we actually have that ability to control this part of the brain. And in the deepest parts of the brain, the limbic system, you can find centers that are related to memory as well, the hippocampus and so on, which consolidates the memory. So if we lose control from the prefrontal cortex to the limbic system, right, by not training it in the right way, we find that any smallest trigger will make someone have that kind of a phobic response, which also will trigger your brain stem. So the brain stem is where uh, you breathe, where it's responsible for your breathing and also your heart rate. So simply by being able to control this part, which makes us human, we may be able to make better decisions, right? So the prefrontal cortex is basically the orchestrator here, and it will make your brain dance to whichever tune that you wish, right? All good? Hello? Yep, great. Okay. Okay, I'll try to not make this too neurosciencey or heavy, but it's very important for you to know what your brain systems are made of, right? So you have a very beautiful computer. It works really well. It works really fine. You bought it probably a few years ago, and all of a sudden you notice that it starts slowing down over time, right? Probably the RAM is not up to date. Probably your SSD cannot hold that information anymore. So many things that can affect the performance of your computer, right? Even the things that you download, the things that you watch, right? So sometimes they can be containing spyware. So it tends kind of slows your computer down, right? So in our brain, we've got some super highways that run from various regions to various regions, right? So most of them are interconnected. And this scan right here is done through a process called fMRI. This little process here is called fMRI. So it measures, or it identifies which are the locations in your brain that are active. And in this image, it was actually done in a patient who was in a meditative state. So you can notice clearly what's happening in the brain. There are three main networks. There are many more, but I just want to focus on the three: the executive control network, the salience network, and also the default mode network. If you notice, the executive control network is what most evolved beings have. The salience network is something that keeps you sort of uh, vigilant, aware of your surroundings, what's happening. And the default mode network is a network that surprisingly we spend about 80 to 90% of our time in our day in the default mode network. And it's interesting to know that this default mode network is responsible, or it governs, or it allows traffic from these kind of activities to flow in it. Okay, for example, right, negative talk, worry, uh, self-doubt, guilt, boredom, that feeling like, I should just quit. Why am I still working here? Addictions, fear, anger. There's just so much going on in the default mode network. And sometimes, you just have little control over it, and you find yourself falling into that same loop over and over. And you find yourself, picking up some obsessive compulsive types of disorders, or ADD, along the way of getting this default mode network jammed up. Think of it like Karak Highway, right? So you got Karak Highway, you have got, on the North-South Highway, or whichever part of Malaysia you're from, and you're familiar with some major highways. And during Raya season, Chinese New Year, or the school holidays, imagine the roads heading towards that area, right? The roads are jammed, terribly jammed, and you have sometimes all sorts of vehicles, all sorts of accidents, all sorts of, lorries, buses, and all that, just slowing down as you're going uphill, just backlogging all of the traffic, all of a sudden you see you're stuck there for hours. So the same thing pretty much happens in our brain as well. So in this default mode network, although yes, it is natural for us to spend most of our time there, it can be used for something actually very much more beneficial. So replacing these packets or these vehicles that are actually traveling on the default mode network, by identifying them, really gives us an opportunity to have a smoother flow in our traffic, in our brain, of course, and also in real life. So imagine if the government or the authorities say that only specific types of vehicles can travel on this road at this particular time of the year, right? So that kind of helps a little bit. And if you implement proper driving standards and traffic rules, you will be able to see a little bit more order on these roads. So it's interesting that there was one study that was conducted in Netherlands, and 40% of primary care visits to the clinics were actually psychosomatic in nature. Psychosomatic meaning like those symptoms that I showed you earlier, the lower back pain, the chronic headaches, the acid reflux, and so on. So those are all categories of psychosomatic disorders, and 40% of them were actually, treatable through psychotherapeutic ways. And oftentimes we find that 2 out of 3 of physicians find it difficult to diagnose psychosomatic disorders. However, you as an individual, you as a evolved being, a human being, have the ability to pick out these symptoms earlier. So these symptoms are all actually pointers of stresses. I am not saying that you should not get it checked out with your doctor. You should. However, you can do your due diligence in managing it better. Right. So sleep. Let's talk about sleep briefly here. So sleep is a very important aspect when we talk about brain health or neuro optimization. Why? Because when you're sleeping, your brain is actually clearing out all the toxins that it has accumulated over your cognitive load. So when you're thinking, when you have a lot of brain juice being used, you have a lot of byproducts as well that are being deposited outside of the neuron, outside of the nerve cell. So just like your house or your condominium or wherever you stay, your office, you throw rubbish, right? So somebody needs to come and collect the rubbish at the end of the day, early in the morning. Usually you don't see it, you don't see them coming in. They're very stealthy, right? The garbage man comes in super early in the morning, grabs the trash and gets out. You don't even know. Next morning, you don't have your trash there anymore, right? So same thing that happens when you're sleeping. We have this system called a glymphatic system. You've heard probably of the lymphatic system, system limper, right? But glymphatic system is actually its own system that happens in the brain, and it's responsible for clearing out all of these toxins. And the only way or the most effective way for it to be cleared is during sleep, not when you're awake. However, the good news is there can be certain windows of your day where the glymphatic system can be activated. For example, when you are resting, when your DMN is on the higher side, right? This is actually signs of when the toxins are being cleared. And it's very important why these toxins need to be clear, because if it accumulates there over a long period of time and it has insufficient clearing, it can harden and it can form plaques and it can cause cognitive problems, dementia, and so on, mental health issues, and also serious brain disorders can happen if you have inadequate sleep. Okay, some very interesting stats here. Okay, it shows that in the world, about 14% of all diseases are actually related to brain health. So over the past decade or two, there was a lot of importance coming about, or a lot of awareness on cardiovascular health. And we noticed that the level of care in cardiovascular health has increased tremendously, and it is thriving and it's saving a lot of people. However, as we progress as a very much more tech savvy, and also we have to use our cognition a lot these days, we notice that the rate of dementia is also increasingly high, up to 250%. So what can we do, right? So we can actually do or give ourselves some care in this sense, because you see, when we talk about dementia or strokes or any other types of cognitive disorders, you're not just troubling yourself. You are not the only person suffering, but your family, your community, your organization. So there's a larger radius of impact that it covers. So do pay attention to your brain health, your sleep. Okay, so when we talk about toxins earlier. We spoke about stresses, uh, all of these stresses working in the background. There are certain things that may creep up and may affect your mental health as well, right? So it's important to identify certain areas that may be slowing you down. And, oftentimes, until you take the questionnaire, you wouldn't know if you're actually having something or not, right? So in this short interval right here, okay, I'm going to give you 5 minutes and you'll be shared a link. And this link is for PHQ-9, DAS-21, and WHO-5. So the PHQ-9 and the DAS-21 is related to depression and depression. DAS-21 is for anxiety and stress and depression as well, and WHO-5 is for to measure your well-being. So all of these, the your questions and your answers are confidential. So we will not be able to have any access to any of the information. So it's just solely for you to know. So once you've done the assessment, you will receive an email with all of the results. Okay. Those of you who have, so we will discuss the scores in a bit. You will be able to use this for your friends and family or even your workplace um, to get a better understanding about your mental health. Okay. So I'll give you 5 minutes. All good? Right. Thank you. If you're done, could you please give me a thumbs up? Thank you. All right, good. All done?
All right, great. Doctor, just
Yes.
wanted to highlight one thing. Puan Rohaida did comment in the chat box, saying that how about when we sleep and dream about anything that make us wake up and feel exhausted?
Okay. So dreaming is also a way that your memory is being processed, is being sorted. So it can be related to things that happen in your daily life, things of the past, things of the future. It's linking, it is working. However, some of these dreams can be unpleasant, can show up as nightmares also sometimes. So yes, it should be addressed because it could be signs of stress as well. Uh, and there are actually ways that we can sort of have better control over our dreams uh, through certain types of therapies. So this will can help you to have to achieve a better, higher quality sleep, and also to be able to have better control. Um, so it is important to get your sleep 7 8 hours. That is the time that you need actually to to ideally achieve the right amount of sleep spindles. So we tend to get into like like spindles of sleep, so they're like five, usually five spindles. And when we are in this processing or REM stage of sleep, this is when we notice that there's a lot of dreams happening. So this is when we're actually processing all of those memories. So yes, do reach out for help if you feel that way, and there are some good therapists who will be able to assist you on that. Okay. Yeah. So right. So if you're all done, let's move on to the next one.
Hold on, doctor.
Yeah.
And Parhaida did comment as well. Is that mean sleeping without dreaming is better? How to get that?
No, not entirely true. Sleeping without dreaming is better. No, um, but a deep sleep does not entirely mean that you have to dream. So a dream state is when you can remember your dreams is actually when you're not in deep sleep. Your sleep is not deep enough. So if you are really in a very good, peaceful night's sleep, oftentimes you will not wake up remembering your dreams. Right? So if it's something that is quite superficial, that means your sleep quality is not deep enough or not good enough. Okay, we notice that the dreams seem very vivid and you can see them very clearly and recall them. Okay, so usually this happens when you are in somewhere midway, right? Hope that answers your question. Okay, so when I spoke about being able to control the dreams, so that is another very specialized technique that you can do, but we won't be covering it in this course. Um, but yes, you do have ability to actually um, direct your own dreams. Okay, so now we earlier we saw about what an unoptimized system looks like. Now we're going to see how an optimized system actually works. Good? Right. Okay. So a quick
Sorry,
mental
Doctor.
experiment.
There's another one. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
Sure.
Okay. CK Chin is asking, and how do we get into DMN in the middle of the day, like part from when going to sleep at night?
Okay. So the DMN activity happens all the time. In fact, right after you close this, you end this call, before you set off to your next task, probably when you're scrolling, that's when your DMN is on already. So that is why we are 90% of the time in the DMN. However, through certain activities like power naps, you can actually get into a I will be covering this later, right? I'll be happy to share more with you on this. Okay. Right. So yeah, I want you to count how many times you see the letter F. Okay. Okay. How many was that? Can I see it in the chat box, please? Okay. I'm gonna play it back once more. Okay. 2, 3, 3, 2, 6. Angie said 6. I want to have a word with Angie later. Okay, once more. Okay. Wow, 6, 7, 4. Okay. So you see, usually we get we a lot of people count 4, 5. Okay, let's look at it once more. Yeah. Okay. So if you notice here, finished files are the result of years of scientific study combined with the experience of many years. So the brain catches out finished files, and it oftentimes it will miss out off and off. Okay, the F's from the offs. Okay, so the brain processes information that it needs to know. So um, it doesn't just read everything as it is, but it looks for patterns, right? So the solution is really not about forcing the brain to work harder, but instead, as high performers yourself, you should learn how to shift the brain into more efficient states, right? So the brain is programmed in a way that it loves patterns, it loves imagery, it loves stories, metaphors, and all that. So this is how it picks up. But unwanted information or information that does not feel right at that time, it not necessarily gets processed. So your conscious mind can only hold up to about, or only process about 7 to 9 pieces of information, which is about 50 bits of information um, per second, right? But your unconscious mind has way more abilities and way more processing speed. Okay, let's talk about flow state, right? Most of you here are, senior leaders of your organization, and you're not too far away from this uh, great people. So yeah, sorry, before Jayshana asked how many was there. So the answer is actually 6, right? So those of you who answered 6, I'd like to probably get in touch with you because I'm looking to hire more people on my team. Okay, so the flow state. When you look at Tiger Woods, you look at Tom Cruise, or even like a fighter pilot, they've got enormous amounts of pressure on them, mentally and also physically, right? But it's amazing how they can achieve such great success in terms of managing their minds and their body. Imagine you have thousands of people watching you uh, hit a ball, and you're able to get a hole in one. So all of this is actually about getting into something called a flow state. And if you notice, very top actors, they are able to switch roles, or even to get into character just so quickly and just nail that act, win Oscars, Grammys, or whatever it is that they do. So think of your brain as this beautiful car. I'm not sponsored by Porsche, though I would love to be one day. Um, you got a great car, great engine, uh, drives really well, but you're stuck in the wrong gears all the time. So what happens when you are in a low gear for a long time, most likely your engine's going to heat up and it's going to break down. Okay, so the same thing that happens in our human mind. When you are in a higher gear, right, you tend to be on a cruise mode. So you cruise longer, you go further, the drive feels much more pleasant to you, right? But oftentimes we get stuck in this situation where we are operating at a very high frequency, which affects your body, your brain, and also your mind, right? So we talk about the physical body. The physical body is not the same as what you have in your head. So yes, the physical body is connected to the brain, and the brain holds something that is very, very spectacular, which is the mind. So the human brain right here is basically like your hardware, it's your engine. Um, it weighs about 1.4, 1.5 kilograms, and it's got um, uh, enormous amounts of functions that it has, from your awareness, your autonomic functions, your sense processing all of your sensory input, emotions, behaviors, your motor control, your hormonal systems, your immune system, and ultimately your consciousness and your awareness, right? So the brain develops at a very young, probably when the zygote forms, right, and it starts uh, folding and it starts changing its shape. And the first thing that actually happens is not the heart, but actually your nervous system, right? And the nervous system, or the brain cells, are very much related to your skin cells. So whatever that appears on your skin, okay, you can say that it's translatable to the brain. And one very interesting field of study is called dermatoglyphs. It studies the pattern of your fingerprint, your thumbprint, your fingerprints, to the way your brain folds. So you can kind of have a correlation on how the attributes of a person, or the um, behaviors, or their affinities or behaviors could be like. All right. So the brain continues to develop even at a very late age. And in the brain, it houses a system called the mind. And in this mind, you have the conscious part of your mind, the prefrontal cortex, the one that I mentioned about earlier. And you have other layers, your subconscious, your unconscious, and your superconscious, to give you different types of experiences. So, which puts us into a question here that where do these thoughts actually come from? So, I would like to just introduce you to this term that I have been actively speaking about these days. It's called biohacking. It's how to hack into your system. So there are several ways. And what's very interesting is, in every cell in your body, you have this thing called a mitochondria. So this mitochondria here is actually something that is foreign. It's not even a mammalian cell to begin with, but it was engulfed, ingested millions of years ago into the cellular species, if you may, and it has become a part of us. So this mitochondria, which is actually probably some alien life force, is actually the ones that are powering our bodies. Okay, and the DNA, one strand comes from your mother, and another side comes from your father. And these DNAs actually contain all of your uh, phenotypical makeup. So basically, what your body looks like, and all. And it's interesting to see the identical twins have got have got uh, different ways of thinking, different behaviors, different emotions. So they're totally different individuals, but they still have the same genetic makeup. Okay, another aspect of biohacking is your gut microbiome. So we have more gut microbiome or tiny bacteria that actually are more. We put all of these bacteria together; they're actually more than our physical cells. And the last part, which is the mind, where do our thoughts come from, right? So is it really ours, or are we just borrowing it? Is the brain an antenna? Is the brain a receiver? So this is another interesting food of thought for you. So your brain, your mind works like an operating system. Your conscious mind is basically your user interface, and the bottom parts below the tip of the iceberg is your user experience. So you have got various things from memory to emotions, feelings, habits, all sorts of things here that actually govern how you function and operate. So long before AI came about, right? Our human mind is constructed of very similar coding mechanisms, I would say. You've got layers and layers of neurons that just connect with each other, and they form a generative transformer itself, right? So the human mind is capable of so much more, and you have your own very own ChatGPT in there, right? So how do we get there? That's the most important thing, right? So we talk about brainwaves. Okay, let's talk about brainwaves first. When you are in a very relaxed, very present, very focused kind of a state, your vagal tone improves. That means it's nerves that run down from your brain right down to your abdomen. It's very much more, the tone is better and you feel much more relaxed. Okay, which means your parasympathetic nervous system is much more activated. It's dominant. Okay, so you get lower heart rate, your breathing is much more relaxed. Okay, your digestion is better. Okay, so you have 5 distinct brain waves. And these brain waves fire at different locations of your brain. It's not that the whole brain fires in gamma or the whole brain fires in beta, but certain areas fire at different frequencies at that particular instance, right? So we notice that there's a very high occurrence of gamma waves when you're doing something, when you're problem solving, or when you're doing when you're learning something new. So this is actually like processing the information. Beta waves are highest when you are actively thinking, when you're alert. Usually when you're at work, your beta and your gamma is high. Alpha waves happen when you are when you're much more relaxed, when you're much more in the present, and you are meditating, for example. And theta waves, they are most prominent when you are daydreaming or when you're in a meditative state. Delta waves are usually seen when you're sleeping. However, we noticed a very interesting pattern. People with ADD for adults, or autism in children, or depressive disorders, we notice that the delta waves are quite high. Although they might feel perfectly fine, I'm good, but when we actually monitor their brain waves, we notice that the delta waves are high. So remember the Porsche that I spoke to you about, right? Great car, great engine, but you're driving in the wrong gears, right? And when you're cruising, when you change gears to a higher gear, yes, you are cruising, but all of a sudden you find out that you got bicycle brakes on, right? So you can't stop. So the brain is just trying to slam on the brakes, but it's just not stopping. So this is a mechanism that that happens in our brain as well, and it's interesting to find out. And when we pick it out early, we actually manage to intervene and help these individuals. Okay, so when you're in a present relaxed state, we notice that the alpha waves and the theta waves are much uh, uh, prominent. Okay, can you see my screen? Yeah, great. So if you notice here, okay, I'm not going to go into detail here, but if you notice here, you can see when someone is performing a normal task, the brain waves are such. It's kind of all over the place, and you notice the purple lines and the lavender lines are also quite increased, right? So this shows that the brain is actually processing, is working a lot, right? When someone is going for like a counseling session or a cognitive behavioral therapy, we notice that the patterns somewhat shift, right? So you notice that the delta and the beta is kind of much more relaxed, and the alpha and the theta is much more increased. And when someone is in a meditative state who's been practicing more, you notice that most of the brain waves are kind of toned down and the alpha goes higher. Okay. And this is something that I practice. I'm a specialist in clinical hypnosis. And in hypnosis is where we see that when the person is awake, you see these kind of patterns, right? You see very high amplitude waves all over the place, right? And as soon as someone gets into a state of very deeply relaxed state of consciousness, right, you notice that all of the brainwaves just kind of just tone down that way. So it's much more open to suggestions and much more open to change, right? So it's similar to getting a software update. So it's important for us to find some time in the day to actually to be in the present. I will be explaining more in a little while. But in my practice as a clinical hypnotherapist as well, we find that hypnosis helps you to get into a very deeply relaxed state and allows you to get the state of like an update, right? So some of the clients that I work with, right, pain, uh, people who have suffered from, all sorts of chronic pains, tried all sorts of medication, but unable to solve them, all sorts of surgeries, but we are able to help them with hypnosis. So hypnosis is a very safe, very ethical and goal-based treatment, okay? And we provide non-judgmental and uh, eclectic. I mean, we're very dynamic in our therapies. We work with what your set of beliefs are, okay? People with depression, people who just want to achieve higher. I work a lot with motorsports athletes and other team sports athletes as well. So we find that there is a very good shift in their brain, and we are able to actually go down deeper and find the things that have really been bothering them during their conscious, when they're alert and they're conscious, and in the state of hypnosis, in the state of deeply relaxed consciousness. We are able to find, or we are able to introduce new codes, new suggestions into them. Okay, so these things are not just all fluff, but it's actually all measurable. And we notice, okay, wait, I want to show you this, right? So when you are meditating, when you are in a very restful state, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your breath rate, and your heart rate variability also gets affected. So your heart rate, breath rate, your blood pressure goes down, your heart rate variability goes up. So you are able to actually shift states intentionally, right? So I want you to know that your brain is something very, very plastic, and you are able to introduce new thought patterns, new behaviors, to basically reinvent yourself. So don't beat yourself up that you can't change. There's always ways to do it. And if you notice in this picture here, it shows that the number of look at the number of synapses here at birth. Just a few, right? But at 3 years old, look how much they're learning, look how much they're absorbing, look how much they're processing. And at 14 years, look what happens, okay? So this process is called pruning. So all the unnecessary or unwanted connections are actually spliced out and pruned, just like your beautiful garden that you would love to have, right? So you want to keep it nice and beautiful. So one very important thing in neuroplasticity basically means forming new connections within your brain. So it is very possible that it is something that you will be living with for the rest of your life. Many years ago, neuroplasticity was not a big thing, and we thought that we are born with that set of nerve cells and we would die with that set of nerve cells. And now we know that that's not true, right? So it's very important for you to understand that what you introduce into your mind, into your brain, into your thoughts is very important, and it can affect your operating system, and also it can affect your hardware, and it can affect your physical body as well. Right, so now I'm going to get you to the juicy part, which is the leader's brain reset protocol. So number one is your awareness. So it's very important for you to be able to detect your cognitive overload early, like the signs that I showed you earlier. Those are just a few. There are many more. If you would like, we can share it with you right after this session, and you'll be able to glance through to as a guide for you to see that, are these any things that you need to be aware of. Okay, and number two is the regulation. And in regulation is where you can shift your brain state quickly. And the third one is the optimization phase, okay, which is about training your brain for more sustained performance. So please do note if there are any forms of psychological overload or psychosomatic disorders, please do seek professional help. Don't try to do it alone, right? So, but generally, just to try to get you to relax or try to shift your brain back, you should be able to do it all by yourself. However, if you do need further assistance, yes, please seek for help. Okay, so number one is the awareness, right? Ever wondered why people who are of the older age category always sustain falls, always, end up fracturing the hip, the knees, especially when they're going downstairs or even in the toilet, right? So this happens because the awareness is not there. Oftentimes we find that our brain, our mind is racing to do somewhere, some thought of the future or something of the past, what's going to happen, to my finances, my grandkids, my business, this person did me wrong, that person did me wrong, or, I'm feeling bitter about something. And you have this balance between the past, present, and the future. So always remember, bring yourself into the present moment, awareness, right? So when you're going downstairs, when you're going to the toilet, you're going to the bathroom, bring yourself to the present moment, right? So this will really reduce a very big risk of getting any injuries or falls, or like when we are in the workplace, or when we are going to be attending a very important meeting. Bring your awareness to the present. Don't worry too much about, worry is something that actually floods your default mode network and actually cripples the system. right? So if you can identify that and find ways to eliminate it, that will save you a lot. Okay, number 2, it's about regulation. Okay, I'm going to teach you a breathing technique. Okay, the breathing technique number 1 is called the box breathing. And oftentimes you find a lot of breath work practitioners giving you all sorts of breathing techniques. Yes, I agree, there are thousands of breathing techniques. However, most of them that are, because I do practice breath work as well. And a lot of times we notice that practitioners or people are breathing through their mouth. All sorts of that. But when you breathe through your mouth, yes, you do get a better load of air going into your lungs. However, the quality of the air is not as good as when you breathe through your nose. So when you breathe through your nose, you actually allow the air, the oxygen, to get attached to a nitrogen molecule, and it absorbs better in your lungs, allowing all of your tissues to enjoy higher quality oxygenation, right? So it's very important to breathe through your nose. And one effective way that you can improve the amount of oxygen or the amount of air that goes in through your lungs, and it's a very good exercise for your lungs, is actually by breathing through your belly. It's not that the air is going into your stomach, but it's just because you are inflate or you are distending your abdomen. It allows your diaphragm to be pulled down more, so allows your lungs to be filled up more. Oftentimes when we are in a state of stress, we notice that we are stuck with thoracic breathing, so we're just breathing through our chest, shallow deep breath. Okay, but what we really want to be doing when we are doing the brain reset is to be taking nice deep abdominal breaths. Okay, so we're going to put one hand on your stomach, on your tummy, and one more hand on your chest. Okay, you're going to breathe in and make sure the hand on your belly goes out. Okay, and then you release. So you can release through your mouth, that's perfectly fine. But always remember that the inhalation should happen through your nose. Right, so this is how the box breathing is done. So you're going to breathe in for 4 seconds. You're going to hold for 4 seconds. And you're going to release for 4 seconds. And then you're going to hold for 4 seconds. And then you're going to inhale for 4 seconds. All right, so you repeat this for about 10 to 20 times. Some of you may face anxiety. So in this instances, you can actually deploy the box breathing, and you can do it for as long as you want, and you should be able to notice some form of relaxation or some form of re-regulation of your nervous system. Okay, and the second technique that I would like to explain to you is the 7-11 technique. Okay, it's easy. Just remember 7-11. It's available at any small town, any large city. So you inhale deep in through your nose for 7 seconds, and you exhale slower and longer for about 11 seconds. Okay, so this should be able to get you into a nice relaxed state. Okay, so as you're sitting there and you're doing your breathing, you're performing your breathing exercises, and you're becoming aware of the present moment, you may be having thoughts that come in, that just float about. Just observe them, but do not engage. Okay, and the third step is the optimization phase. When we talk about optimization, what's most important before going into any technicalities is actually your physical exercises. have regular physical exercises, eat healthy, get enough sleep, get enough sunlight, and then you'll find that these optimization processes actually help you much better. So mindfulness-based practices, being in the present, self-hypnosis is a great tool. Monitoring modalities, for example, like you have your watch that tracks your all your health parameters, your sleep ring, your Muse headband. So all of these monitoring devices are very, very helpful to show you what state that you are actually in. So when you are actually shifting states, your brain states, you will notice a change in your those parameters that I mentioned earlier, your heart rate, your blood pressure, and your breath rate as well. Okay, along with your heart rate variability. Okay, so therapy is a very powerful and often previously stigmatized, but now it's very much more trendy. Many people are understanding the benefits of therapy, especially when it's conducted by experts. Um, there are various types of therapy. Not every therapy is suitable for every type of person, so it's it's worth it's worth the exploration, and it's worth reaching out to a legitimate provider to be able to guide you further. Right, supplementation is also a great way to optimize your brain health. um, I want to leave you with one supplement today, which is called the tocotrienols. So these tocotrienols are actually a derivative of vitamin E. So not all types of supplements, not all types of medication can actually penetrate the blood-brain barrier. So oftentimes the supplements that we take does not really reach the brain. And oftentimes we notice that we don't need those supplements, but we are taking them anyway because we saw it on TikTok or we saw it wherever on social media or somebody told us, right? So speak to your provider and okay, hang on. I'll just put it in the text box here, right? Right. So it will help you to. So this tocotrienol that I mentioned to you about actually is a super antioxidant, and it works great on the brain, right? Okay. So we have 20 minutes left. So we'll have a little live demo. Uh, I will just be allowing you to sit where you are. I hope that you are in an undisturbed place. You're feeling comfortable. So we're going to go through a few steps just to help you feel a little bit more at ease and just clear your minds a bit. All good? Fantastic. Lovely to see that. Alrighty. So now, just allow yourselves to just sit comfortably on your chair, your bed, wherever that you are, and just allow your feet to just rest gently on the floor and your back supported. And now bring all of your awareness to your nose. And now just take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Breathing in peace and comfort. And breathing out everything that's unnecessary to you. And now just allow your eyelids to just gently close. Gently, gently close. As you continue to focus your breathing, to focus all of your attention on your breathing, breathing in peace and comfort, breathing in relaxation, breathing in nice and deeply, 7 seconds in, and 11 seconds out. And as you continue to repeat this so gently and so effortlessly, just focusing on your nose, focusing on your breath, just allowing your breath to take control. And with your eyes so gently closed and your body feeling more and more relaxed, it's perfectly normal to have your thoughts moving about like clouds. And just notice the clouds that are just forming these thoughts. They may resemble people, they may resemble events, they may resemble things that are familiar to you. And just like these clouds, just observe. They move, they move spontaneously. And there is no need for you to pay attention to them. Because as you focus on your breath, breathing in ice and peace, breathing in comfort, you just notice how your worries, how your stresses, how that anything that does not belong to you, any thoughts, feelings, emotions, are just releasing and just dissolving and moving freely, just like those clouds. And as you're breathing in more and more relaxed, your mind is feeling so much more clear, feeling so much more calm. And your body is feeling so much more relaxed. And your mind clear. With your mind clear, you'll be able to wake up feeling fresh and feeling recharged and feeling relaxed, feeling so much more clear in your mind. So now all together, 1, 2, 3, waking up, 4, 5, 6, waking up, 7, 8, open your eyes, and 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Welcome back, everyone. So just notice as you just allow your eyelids to close, depriving yourself of sensations around you, and just focusing internally on your breathing, on your mind, just allowing these thoughts to just pass by. You just notice that you just created a brain shift. So the more and more you practice, the more and more you become a master of this, you'll be able to get into the zone or into the flow state better. Sometimes people find ways or find interference from their own thoughts. That can be self-sabotaging. It can be very difficult. So this is when you really want to be seeking help. So self-care can be done by anyone. I'm happy that I'm able to share it with you. You can use your own creativity, but essentially it's really about focusing on your breathing, reducing your sensory awareness, and being in this present moment. So that will give you a very nice shift. And if you are having any struggles, or if you want to achieve a little bit more, this is when you will reach out for help. Okay. And when you do reach out to professional help, you get baseline measurements, very specific tailor-made protocols for you, and also monitoring and follow-up. So interestingly, there was something called a team flow state. So where all of the teams were wired up with QEEG and a mindfulness-based technique was used. And we found that there was something called interbrain synchrony. So where the brains of the whole unit synchronized in its brain waves. So, which showed, 21% higher profitability for the company, 17% higher productivity, and 41% lower absenteeism rates. So, there are many wellness programs out there, and it shows that simply by focusing or by investing in your brain or your neuro optimization, you can reduce healthcare costs up to 20-30%. So that's pretty significant. And I wanted to share with you a story that a client that I had a few a few months back. And so she came to me and she had um, a very long medical leave given by her orthopedic doctor because she was having neck pain and shoulder pain. Yes, it was something organic. However, we decided to work, and we were able to identify certain psychological stresses that she was not aware of consciously. She was having troubles with finances, with her family, a lot of worries because her son was going to start university. So she had she had adjustment disorder as well. So simply by working on neuro optimizing her, she was able to get back to work in 2 weeks. Sorry, less than 2 weeks. And her symptoms gradually improved. And yeah, she's doing great now. So it's amazing what you can do with your mind, but you have to be, if you are going to be using it to treat something, please reach out for professional help. And any form of neuro optimization should not go past, or you should not neglect conventional modes of treatment as well. Okay. Okay, doc. So we are actually ending our last few slides. We are already reaching the end. So I just want to leave you with this, right? Stop negative talk. So this really helps you to clear your default mode network. And when you become more aware, more present, and more calm, you notice that you feel better, and your surroundings also tend to improve. And here's a plus point when you practice, right? Practice the leader's brain reset protocol, and you practice it with gratitude, kindness, and love. So gratitude, kindness, and love is actually something that is free, and you can use it and you can multiply it as much as you want. And you notice that you'll make your life better, you'll make your organization better, and your families, communities, societies, and hopefully the whole world, right? So, any questions? Thank you so much, everyone.
All right. So, yep, I think, wow, pretty much very good sessions with Dr. Amit. So, yep, so now is the Q&A sessions. So we are open the floor to everyone in here. So you guys can switch on your mic or can put it in the chat box. Any thoughts, any questions, any clarifications from the expert. So, yeah, please welcome everyone.
Yeah, I love questions, please.
Really helpful for me.
Thank you,
NGC,
Reggie.
yeah, it's very good sessions and really helpful for me. Yeah.
Thank you, Reggie.
How about
You've
the
been a
rest?
great
How about the
participant.
rest? Anyone? Anyone? Great session, Chairo. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jaishana Logan. Where can we get how to pronounce that? That's my bad.
Tocotrienols. Tocotrienols.
tocotrienols. Any
Yeah, so
pharmacy?
the vitamin E derivative. Yeah, pharmacies have them. Um, there are a few places that you can get online as well. So you want to be aware of the content of it. 1,000, 2,000 mg is good per day. Yeah, you should be able to pick it out at the pharmacy.
Yeah. So, Puan Wardah, can I consume magnesium for better sleep?
Yeah, sure. Magnesium is good. It's helpful. It's relaxing, and it's very interesting that in the medical setting, in acute conditions, yeah, uh, we actually use magnesium to relax the patient, to bring the BP down. You know, so it basically relaxes your vessels also. So yeah, magnesium is a great supplement. It helps. So there's different types of magnesium, by the way. So you really want to see for sleep, yeah, magnesium oxide is good enough. So for different types of cognitive types of processing, you may need some other types of magnesium.
Okay, right. Thank you, Doctor. And CK Chin, the short demo was like a soft reset. Thank you so much. Yeah, I believe that as well. I
Thank
feel
you.
better now.
Fantastic, great.
So, NG, I'm currently on a small yellow pill. When I can't sleep for 2 years. Wow. How to reduce the dosage and what is the substitute?
Okay, so for you, Angie, seeking therapy would be, I would say, it's beneficial. But first, we would need to find out more about your sleep uh, issues. Is it something that is okay? How should it be treated? So we need to look at the whole architecture of it first before we can advise anything. So I hope I don't give any medical advices here. But yes, do reach out to a trained professional. They'll be able to help you better. Okay, if you want to reach me, also I think it is possible through ATCEN. Yeah, a lot of other questions here.
Yeah,
But
Cik
yes,
Hairul.
NG, yes, there are ways that you can substitute. So very similar to like um, things that you're on for a long time, behaviors, habits, addictions, and all that. So they work pretty much along the same spectrum. So it is possible that you can substitute or even to taper down or even to stop altogether something. Okay. So next question.
And Cik Hairul comment, I don't have enough sleep lately. My house just like a Middle East. No,
Understand.
yeah, Wardah Miza, I drank doze off sometimes.
Okay. So these are all act, happens when your brain is not in the right state, right? So typically, it's got to do something with the awareness and also the regulation part of things. So hopefully, if you practice the brain reset protocol, right, you will be able to benefit from some of uh, what we can offer you, right? Better sleep, or even better control over your circadian rhythm, your sleep awake cycles.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Go Chin Meng. Thank you, Dr. Amit, for generously sharing his expertise with us.
Thank you so much. I really
One,
enjoyed myself, and there's actually a lot more. So this is just like the tip of the iceberg, and I had to cram it all into this 2 hours. So I hope that whatever I delivered to you was sufficient, and I'm happy to hear that you benefited from it.
yeah. And Puan Rohaida, I think there is the last questions. I have a friend who always have a negative thought and look down to herself. how we can help her to remove this thought and change it to a positive thought and become awareness and present moment.
I understand where you're coming from, Puan Rohaida, because we observe people, right? However, sometimes the person who's being observed, they are not aware that they are facing or they are having these kind of thoughts, this type of behaviors, you know. So number one is to get them to be accepting of it, you know. Definitely, we see this day in day out in our practice. But yes, rewiring or reprogramming negative thoughts to becoming positive ones, it's very doable. So the most important thing here is for her to be accepting that that she can benefit from types of therapies uh, to help her to get to a place that she would really like to be.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. It's happened to me as well. So yeah, Angie, yeah, which is a business, family burden, and etc. Jaisana Logan, maybe can ask her to join next session with Dr. Ahmed. Yes, exactly.
Sure.
So, any last questions for Doctor? Anyone? Are we good? Then she might identify something in herself. Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
sure. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Ask her to reach out. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, Encik Sharimin, thank you for sharing today. All right.
Thank you.
So, yep, I think that's pretty much what are the things that I learned is about the brain can reflect to your skin. Am I right? So
Yep.
yeah, so that for me is a new thing because I never learned on the neuro optimization that kind of stuff. So it's a new thing for me. Mr. Hadi looks handsome today. Thank you. Happy fasting. Thank you so much. But then before that, do you have any other slide, Dr. Hamid, before I wanted to give them? All right. Thank you
Oh,
so
thank
much.
you, Slide. Yeah.
Yeah. So whoever that wanted to connect with doctor can scan the QR code or can reach me so I can link you guys with Dr. Amin as well. And I wanted to share exclusive discount for whoever that attended today, right? So is it possible I can share the screen, doctor?
Sure.
Just a quick one. You guys remember when when in the beginning of the sessions, which is I just wanted to give it to you guys. Whoever that stay until end of the session, you guys are able to get the exclusive discount. Okay, whoever that wanted to have is we can conduct a 2 days or 3 days program, which is for the high performance neuro optimization session for leaders. All right. So whoever that screenshot, I need your assistant. Whoever that screenshot this slide, okay. If let's say you wanted to conduct an in-house in future, you just show us this screenshot, then you are able to get a 30% discount. Right, so whoever that show us, if let's say you guys wanted to conduct in the house, then you guys are able to get a 30% discount. This slide you cannot get anywhere else, like inside our Instagram or our TikTok or our LinkedIn, any social media platform, or even though in our website as well. So just please take a moment to screenshot. All right, have you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my screen now? Okay, just 1 second. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Okay, great. Okay, so that screenshot ke? If let's say you guys have screenshot, can you guys give me a thumbs up? Boleh? All right, nice. Okay, so basically this program is not available for a public workshop program. Okay, so this one is only meant for in-house program because the content is very deep, like Dr. Amit shared earlier, which is almost end of the sessions about the staff behavior and that kind of stuff. All right, so thank you so much once again. So I think I can stop this sharing. I just need your assistance because this is considered NTW National Training Week program. So we need to have a Wi-Fi together with the trainer and the rest of you guys. So because we wanted to have, we need to submit this Wi-Fi to NTW in order for them to generate the certificate. Okay, so I just need your assistance. Everyone, can you switch on your camera? Okay, I need your assistance, everyone. So please switch on your camera. Then we're gonna have a Wi-Fi, a quick Wi-Fi. Then after that, we can wrap up the session. Is it okay, guys? Okay, nice. Thank you, Mr. Bala, Mr. Angie. Oh, akhirnya I can see your face. All right, nice. How about the rest? Rina Logan, is it possible? I think it's half of us is fine. As Shazwani, I only can see a blank, a dark video. I cannot see your face. Like Sharimin, Hyrule. Boleh ke? Can we have a quick one? Cik Is. Oh, Cik Is tengah makan ke tu? All right. So I think it is about yeah, shouldn't be a problem, something wrong. It's okay, no problem. So just a quick one. So I gonna say 3, 2, 1, then you just make some post lah. Is it possible? Just a thumbs up or anything. All right. So okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hold on. Hold on. Just a quick one. Good job. Okay, we are done. Thank you. Thank you so
Right.
much. Thank you for having us today. And thank you so much, Dr. Amit, share with your expertise. So we learned a lot today. So whoever that wanted to know more about ATCEN can reach me or can go to our website, www.atcen.com. All right. So you can visit our social media as well in Instagram, in Facebook, in LinkedIn as well. All right. So just get to know us more, then we will try to assist you as much as we can. So with that, I would like to thanks again to everyone who joined us for today. Thank you so much. Have a good day, have a good weekend. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Great week.
Puan Wardah, I think Puan Wardah masih ada. Yeah, we gonna share with you the slide dalam email nanti. So we gonna send you a thank you email together with the slide lah. Alright, so yeah, I think yeah, that's about it. Welcome, Puan Wardah. Thank you so much. Right, so whoever that wanted to do in-house training for you guys, for your staff, yeah, for your company, for your organizations, we are able to do that. Okay, just let me know or my team, then kita akan kita akan came up with the proposal lah. Alright. Thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak everyone. Have a good day. Selamat berpuasa. Okay, Z dah settle. Z dengar tak?
Another 4 but they care clinics.
Okay.
But they are still in induction process for 1 month. So after that, they will come back.
The team resigned and left only the manager.
You know, that is the head of LND.
Okay lah, then I think pretty much is the same. Itu je lah kot. Thank you so much Z.
We are still waiting for the tarikh lah. Actually, they supposed to
Diorang tengah dekat end.
ask the manager to go for the revision.
Dia
Cannot.
They are very injured.
Okay, dah lah kot, boleh masuk sana.
All the managers are from India.
Okay, thank you Z.
Actually,
Bye, Assalamualaikum.
IP manager dia.
now you know the problem. Yeah, there you go. No need to say. No need to say. No need to say. Everybody, does everybody understand?
No.
Anyone?